Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop out in the heavenly backyard garden. I'm out here with the Celestron 11-inch Edge HD telescope, and with that I have the StarSense AutoGuider attached to the system. Now, it's very important to hook up the StarSense AutoGuider correctly in order to get it to work. Not only connecting it up correctly, but also make sure the firmware is all updated as well. So let's first of all look at the StarSense AutoGuider. Now you have two plugs associated with the AutoGuider. You have a USB port and you also have the ST4 port. Now it's important to hook both of these up to get it to work properly. The USB port just simply plugs directly into a USB connector, in this case the Celestron power box, which then goes down into my computer. And then the other one is this ST4 cable. Very important that this cable go down and hooks into the auxiliary port, not the AutoGuider port over here. Instead, it goes into the auxiliary port on your Celestron mount. And that will make sure that the system is connecting properly. Also connected with the Celestron, they do have, as I mentioned, the power port and the Celestron focuser, and I also have the Celestron dew heater attached to the front of the system itself. So it's important that the firmware also be updated with this system. So let's take a look at that. Very important, the CFM, the Celestron Firmware Manager, you must be able to use this to get this system to work properly. And I have it working so that I'm guiding with 5-minute accuracy, getting very round stars with this system the way it's set up right now. So let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at the computer now. I'm upstairs on the main computer, and I'm going into the remote computer outside through remote desktop connection. And the first thing you want to do is make sure you have the proper Celestron firmware loaded. So you go into the Celestron Firmware Manager, and if you want to get that, just go to the Celestron website and download the CFM. And then once you open it, you should get this. Now, if you don't get this screen here, that means you don't have Java uploaded into your system. So it's important that you get Java uploaded into your system for this to work. Otherwise, it won't work. And make sure all your equipment outside on the telescope itself is hooked up. And then the Celestron Firmware Manager will look at all the different devices that it can find on the rig itself, and then it will proceed to download the updated firmware for each part of the components available. And it's right now doing that, and it's already downloaded. So now let's go over here into update and click on that right here, and it's going to start updating all the different firmwares that are available with the latest firmware. And that's very important, particularly with the StarSense AutoGuider and also with the Celestron CPWI. You want to download the latest version of that. Over here on the Celestron site, software.celestron.com installers, right there, you can go into CPWI right here, click on that folder, and these will be all the different versions of CPWI that are available. And of course, you want to get the latest version here, and the latest version is 2.5.0, but they have some beta versions going on right now, and I'm running 2.5.5. That requires the StarSense AutoGuider to have the latest firmware to operate properly, and that's what the CFM is doing right now. It's downloading the different firmwares, and when it gets to the StarSense AutoGuider, that'll be the last one. That's a fairly large piece of software, so it's going to take a little while to download. I believe that's number 11. I'll come back when this is all finished. Okay, the CFM has finished updating everything, and it says all my devices are now up to date. So I can close the Celestron Firmware Manager. We're going to do that. I'm going to open up CPWI to begin with. Takes a little bit, about 10 seconds to upload, to load. There it is right there. And what I want to do first of all, obviously, is connect the mount, and it's through the USB. So I just click on that, and it's going to ask me these different methods of alignment. I'm just going to go with quick align right now. I could do the StarSense alignment, but with Nina, I'm going to be using Nina. I really don't need that. But if you're not using Nina, you might want to do the StarSense Auto Alignment. But this is obviously, right now I'm in the daytime, and I'll be back later on tonight with the actual viewing of the images. But just use a quick align, and there's begin alignment. And this is the CGX mount, and that has an automatic switching locations on there, so the mount will automatically go to the neutral position, which is pointing at the North Celestial Pole, in my case just a little bit off of Polaris, and it's homing in on that right now, and it's finally found it. Okay, so we can exit out of that, and going over into other settings here, we can connect the focuser, so that'll be connected, and we also want to connect the dew heater, well, right there. So everything will be connected. And then over here in the StarSense AutoGuider, here you have all these different options. And what you want to make sure is that, first of all, guiding is always on. Very important. That's one of the newer things. The PhD2 server is checked to be on. And the precise go-to, well, now, if you're using Nina, you really don't want to use this. So I click it off. If you're not using Nina, or any other program, if you're just using the CPWI to track your system and record, then you do have to have that on, and also the auto meridian flip you need to have on. But I'm going to be using Nina, so I don't want these on. Also, once you're set up, you want to make sure that guiding is enabled, so that the system will start guiding throughout the night. And the reason that I think this is on here, guiding always on, if like for example in Nina, this will, when after a meridian flip, for example, it will not turn the guiding off. It'll turn it back on if it's been turned off. But anyway, once the Nina has established its location, the guider will always be on in this case, which is very important. You want to keep the guiding on, so keep that in mind. All right, so that's that with CPWI. Keep it open, obviously, just minimize. And then now I'm going into Nina, nighttime imaging in astronomy, and I just love Nina, and it's working now with the StarSense AutoGuider. So I'm going to load my profile. Now, again, since this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I do not have my camera or filter wheel connected to the system at the moment, but I will later on tonight. We'll be coming back to that. Now, I'll be actually showing you the actual guiding. Okay, so yeah, no camera, I know that. But let's connect the telescope. You have the choices in Nina. You got the Celestron telescope driver. You don't want to use that. You want to use CPWI. And you have these other options again, just CPWI in this particular example. So click on that and then say OK. And Nina is connecting to the CGX mount, which is now connected through CPWI. All right, just leave the rest alone. I'll go into the guider. Now, what I've been doing is using the option of direct guider for the moment. I'll be experimenting later on tonight with the new software with the SSAG, the StarSense AutoGuider updated firmware. Well, right now, direct guider works very well, and you need that if you're going to dither. All right, really, it's a good idea to dither, particularly if you're taking a lot of images. It just gives you a better image. And then it's not going to connect. It's not going to see the switch. You can look for it, but it's not going to be there. That's the power box outside. And on my other systems, I have the Pegasus, but right now it's not necessary. CPWI takes care of all of that, and everything else is fine. Of course, I don't have the camera and the filter wheel connected at the time. All right. So the next thing I would want to do, for example, let's go into the Sky Atlas, and let's go with that Hamburger Galaxy. So that's NGC 3628. Search for that. There it is. You can set for framing assistant. It goes into this. Takes a little bit to download. So this is not going to come into my target until around, what is that, 10 o'clock tonight. Right now I'm at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's the galaxy I'm going to want. And so I just say add target to sequence. So you can use either one you want. You can use the legacy sequence, which is quick and dirty, and it works very fine, but I like to use the advanced sequencer because I have this all set up, and I'll just briefly go through it for you right now as well. And it's going to be Pat's main my main sequence using the Poseidon camera. Okay, and it automatically loads everything in right there. So it has the coordinates for the Hamburger Galaxy, and it has my settings over here. Of course, the filter wheel is not connected, nor is the camera, so I got a lot of error messages here, but that'll go away tonight. And I'm going to be dithering every 3 images, and the meridian flip is on. It's going to do an automatic focus after each filter change, and then I'm going to go into my exposures here, and I'm going to use an RGB. So what I want to do is go into, in this case, red, and I'm going to go for 300 seconds, and then I'm going to go to green, and right here. And let's add another one by clicking on this option arrow here and click on right here. That's the copy, and do that, and let's just do blue. All right. Now I'm using 200 gain of 200 set for this camera with these filters. These are the Antlia RGB filters, and also the Antlia narrowband filters, the HA, the sulfur 2, and the oxygen 3. But I found out the gain of 200 works very well. The normal gain, the unity gain for this camera is by 150, so it's just a little bit more than unity. And I'm going to set it for just a half hour each for now. I'll show you right in a second. All right, so there's 6 images, 6 frames at 300 seconds. That's 30 minutes. All right, now I'm going to track until nautical dawn, because in this case the image comes up at 10 o'clock at night, but then it's up all night long into, well, after sunrise actually. So it'll be up to nautical dawn. So I'm going to track until nautical dawn. And in that, there's going to be a meridian flip right around this time here, which is what, 2:35 in the evening, a little before 3 o'clock. It'll do a meridian flip, and it's important that in NINA, from CPWI, that you have that switch in the StarSense AutoGuider switch on to guiding always on. Very important. Just keep all these top 3 switches on if you're using NINA. All right, and it should take it from there, and everything else is good to go. And now all I have to do is wait for nightfall to get everything going. First, one other thing while I'm in NINA, just to quickly show you. I have templates set up. It comes equipped with the standard templates, and I modified them and then renamed them myself. And I got my Pat Start menu, which I put right up over here on the top where it says Start Beginning Menus. And there it's going to unpark the scope. It's going to cool the camera if it hasn't already been cooled. It's going to turn the dew heater on. And it's going to start Robocopy, which is a plugin for NINA that automatically takes the file from the remote computer and transfers it to my main computer here inside. And I have a 10 terabyte external disk drive that I can save everything on. So I'm not going to worry about running out of space at all. But on the outside computer, I only have a half of terabyte or 500 gigabytes of data, which is not all that much. So anyway, and then down at the bottom, I want to do the end menu right over here, Pat's end menu, and then drop it over here where it says sequence end. Okay, you just drop it into there. And what that's going to do is stop the robocopy, which is copying the files, but it's going to wait for about 2 minutes, make sure everything is copied over in case there was a delay. Then it's going to warm the camera, it's going to park the scope, and then stop guiding, and then that's it. The night is over. And then I'll be able to take all my files and then look at them in my editing software, such as PixInsight and Deep Sky Stacker and so forth, and graphics, Gradient Expert, all those put together anyway. So let's wait for nightfall. Okay, it's nighttime now, and I'm doing a test. First of all, I have the target set at the Crab Nebula, which is just about straight overhead. It just passed the meridian. And this is a 5-minute image right here, 300 second. And you can see it's not too bad. Zooming in, stars are quite round. This is, again, a 300 second capture right here. What I'm doing next, and I didn't do an autofocus. I think I need to do an autofocus here, but what I'm doing next is a 7-minute exposure. I'm at the just past 5 minutes right now, but as you can see, it looks okay, a little soft on the focus, but we'll get that in just a minute. So let's wait for the another minute and a half or so for the 7-minute portion of this video to come in, of this image. All right, coming up to 7 minutes now. Here we go in 5 more seconds. Let's see what happens here. I'm just as anxious as you are to see what it looks like. Here we go. Off a little bit, not too bad. I mean, 7 minutes, come on guys. That's not too bad though, considering all things considered. Let's stop this, and I'm going to do an autofocus. But while I'm doing this, let me show you something else. Let me hit stop here. One thing I do notice in the new updated software in the CPWI, in the beta version anyway, it's not showing the guider graph, even though it is guiding. It doesn't show it in the graph itself. I have the settings over here set to guiding enabled, guiding always on, and PhD2 server is on. I have the others turned off, precise go to and auto meridian flip, because I want Nina to do that. So it's tracking, but it's not showing the tracking. So that's a concern right now. That might be part of the beta issue right now. But anyway, I'm using the beta version here. There it is right there, 2.5.5 beta 3. All right, so let's do an autofocus and see what happens next. Okay, the autofocus is done, and it moved the focuser just a little bit. It was set at 26.550, and it moved it to 26.575. So a little bit of a change there. And let's look at the image itself, and it looks pretty sharp right there. Okay, let's try it again. Let's go with another 7-minute exposure and see what happens. So, all right, it's coming up to the 7-minute. Let's see what happens here. There you have it. That's a 7-minute exposure. It is tracking. I'm very impressed. Yeah, it looks very good. Let's take a look at the full view right here. And then yeah, a 7-minute exposure here. Should we go for a 10 just for the fun? Let's try 10. All right, coming up on the 10-minute image. See what happens here. There it is, coming in now. Oh man, look at that. It guided for 10 minutes. Look at that. I'm impressed. It's a little blurry, not bad. Again, that's going to get sharpened up in, definitely could be sharpened up inside of PixInsight with the blur exterminator. Wow. So the question is, does the StarSense AutoGuider work? Yeah, it's working. It's working like a champ tonight anyway. And look at the focal length I'm using over here. Where is that? Framing. The focal length here is 2085 millimeters. So with an 11-inch aperture. Wow. Okay, this is the target I'm going to be shooting for tonight. I had the Hamburger Galaxy I showed you earlier. These are the other two galaxies, M65 and M66, over here in the trio in Leo, or the Leo triplet of galaxies. So I'm going to set up the sequence to capture this. It's just cleared my horizon right now, so I'm going to set this up, and I'll post this at the end of the video. Okay, let's go back outside.
Let's take a look at the example that I shot the other night, the Hamburger Galaxy NGC 3628. That's up in the constellation Leo. It's part of the triplet in Leo, or the Leo triplet of galaxies. And with this, I was tracking at 5 minutes, 300 seconds, using the Celestron StarSense AutoGuider. And just look at these images right here. The quality of the images, look at how clean the stars are associated with the system. This is a 4-hour exposure, basically, over the 5-minute subs throughout the nighttime hours, watching the Hamburger galaxy. Well, thanks for watching, and I'm sure that once you get the StarSense AutoGuider hooked up properly, you're going to love it, just like I do. It's fantastic, and I'm going to try to stretch my limits to see if I can go beyond 5 minutes with tracking. You know, before I had the StarSense AutoGuider, I couldn't get more than 2 minutes worth of tracking, and that was lucky at best. 1 minute was basically what I was trying to achieve. But with the Star Tracker, with the StarSense Auto Tracker, I'm getting 5-minute exposures right now with good, fantastic tracking. So remember, the heavens are filled with majestic wonders, and they're all in a sky near you. And with better tracking, you're going to see those stars even better. So unless you need rain, clear skies, everyone.